Former attorney Solomon Slom, an 82-year-old, has been sentenced to 10 years direct imprisonment by the Palm Ridge Specialized Commercial Crimes Court after being convicted on 145 counts of theft and 145 counts of money laundering linked to the misappropriation of millions from a client trust fund. The case was registered at Rosebank Police Station in February 2024 and assigned to the Hawks Serious Commercial Crime Investigation in Johannesburg. Slom, who was attached to Fluxman Attorneys, had been mandated to administer a client account containing approximately 45 million rand. An internal audit conducted by his business partner revealed that Slom had stolen 39 million rand through more than 140 transactions between January 2019 and January 2024. The funds were transferred into his personal bank accounts, and he resigned with 2/8 effect after the irregularities were discovered. Slom handed himself over to authorities on August 26, 2024, and was released on 50,000 rand bail the same day. He was convicted on June 5, 2026. Although he received 10-year sentences for both theft and money laundering, the court ordered the sentences to run concurrently, resulting in an effective sentence of 10 years direct imprisonment. Zin wrote this article. SASSA dismissed 4 officials over 33 million rand social grant fraud. When I checked their website to get more information about the article, I came across this.
SASSA dismisses 4 officials over R33 LM social grants fraud. By Gugulethu Mashinini. Internal investigation finds offenders manipulated the social grant system while working with syndicates outside the agency. The SA Social Security Agency, SASSA, has dismissed 4 officials from its Nebo office in Limpopo after they were found guilty of involvement in a social grants fraud scheme worth R33 million. The agency said the officials were dismissed after an internal investigation found they had manipulated the social grants system while working with syndicates outside the agency. SASSA said disciplinary proceedings were launched against the officials, which resulted in their dismissal. Although the officials challenged the outcome, the appeals committee upheld the decision. The agency said the ruling confirmed the seriousness of the misconduct and the need to protect public resources. SASSA said fraud of this nature directly affected millions who relied on social grants to buy food, pay school expenses, and cover other basic needs. Fraudulent activities undermine the trust placed in SASSA and deprive vulnerable communities of much-needed support, said Regional Executive Manager Mapula Fiha. Fiha said SASSA would continue to act decisively against any employee found guilty of misconduct. SASSA said it was strengthening measures to prevent similar cases in future. These would include enhanced monitoring, stricter internal controls, and ongoing staff ethics training.
The Gauteng Anti-Corruption Unit arrested 5 police constables, namely the Bang Petrus Mabapa, Karabo Mpati, Fano Mujeri, Nsovo Marvin Mudabula, and Rudzani Vitali Nalushi, attached to the Public Order Policing (POP) unit in the West Rand on charges of corruption. They were arrested on Sunday, July 12, 2026, following an incident that occurred at the intersection of R41 Road and Badshani Street, Riat Valley, Azadville. A case of corruption was subsequently registered at Kagiso SAPS. According to the preliminary investigation, the complainant alleged that he was stopped by police officials who were conducting stop-and-search operations. The complainant alleged that after complying with the police officials' instructions and producing his passport for inspection, he informed the officers that he had approximately 22,000 rand in cash inside a brown envelope in the cabin of his vehicle before it was searched. It is alleged that one of the police officials removed the cash from the vehicle, questioned the complainant about its source, and, despite the complainant explaining that he is an artist and that the money was lawfully his, returned only 2,000 rand while allegedly retaining the balance. The complainant allegedly demanded the return of the remainder of his money, explaining that he required approximately 5,000 rand for transportation to catch a flight to Mozambique. His request was allegedly refused. As the police officials attempted to leave the scene, the complainant allegedly held onto the door handle of the SAPS vehicle in an effort to prevent them from departing. It is further alleged that one of the members pushed him away before the officials drove off. The complainant followed the SAPS vehicle, photographed it, and subsequently reported the matter at Kagiso police station. They were tracked and instructed to report to the station. Upon their arrival, the complainant positively identified the 5 police officers as the members involved in the incident. The SAPS anti-corruption unit was immediately notified and the members were arrested. They appeared before the Kagiso Magistrates Court on charges of corruption. They were all remanded in custody, and the matter was postponed to next week Thursday, July 24, 2026, for a formal bail application hearing. A 34-year-old detective constable, Elias Moketsi Pinkawane, attached to the Orange Farm SAPS detective branch, is appearing before the Sabokeng Magistrates Court on charges of murder and attempted murder. It is alleged that on Sunday, July 12, 2026, at approximately 3 o'clock, Pinkawane, who was off duty at the time, was in BK Lifestyle Cafe in Sabokeng, having arrived in a state vehicle. At or about the time the establishment was closing, Pinkawane and his partner went to buy gizzards, where they found 3 men who were also waiting in the queue. An argument started after one of the men wanted to buy all the remaining gizzards. Pinkawane then went to the state vehicle, pulled his service pistol, and fired shots at the 3 men through the vehicle's window before driving off. As a result of the shooting, 1 victim was declared dead, while a 2nd victim sustained injuries and was rushed to the hospital. The 3rd victim survived without physical injury. Spent cartridge cases were recovered, with 1 found at the crime scene and another later recovered inside the state vehicle. The accused was later traced to his residence, where he was arrested the same day. He has since been charged with murder and attempted murder, and is appearing before the Sabokeng Magistrates Court. SAPS disciplinary processes will also be instituted concurrently.
District Court has granted the state authority to centralize charges facing the suspended SAPS Organized Crime Unit Sergeant Fani Nkosi to be heard at the Pretoria North Magistrate on the 22nd of July. Amongst the other charges are theft of police forensic report related to drug investigation.
Arrival. They found 7 firearms that are licensed and belong to Sergeant Fani Nkosi. But what was of concern is that 4 of the firearms were in the safe, but according to the Firearms Control Act 60 of 2000, all firearms must be locked up in a safe, and the safe must be installed and mounted on a wall or on the floor. It mustn't be removable, easily removable. So that was the first charge of contravention of the Firearms Control Act, in which the safe where the 4 firearms were found was not mounted on a wall or on the floor. They then found 3 other firearms. They found the .38 special revolver in between the mattresses of his room, which is another contravention because all firearms must be in the safe. They then found I think it's a Norinco R5 under his bed, which is another contravention. They then found a 9mm Beretta pistol in his car, in one of his cars, which is another contravention. They found multiple rounds of ammunition, 35 AK-47 rounds, your 9mm R5 rounds, and so on. But of concern as well is that they found also state-issued ammunition. And you will recall that I mentioned that on the 28th of March he was formally suspended by the SAPS, and then he had an obligation to hand over all state property. And him being in possession of then state property, state ammunition, then it amounts to obstructing the course of justice, defeating the ends of justice, and theft as well, because he shouldn't be in possession of state property if he is on suspension. And then further investigation, they then proceed to the Wendywood, which is at the back of his house, where they then find 6 dockets. They find 6 dockets, 5 of them original dockets, 1 copy.